this rally is all about people mattering, about the restoration of our services and the upgrading and improvement of our hospital, and for consultation with the people on the ground, which is you and me, and our doctors and clinicians, and the medical staff, the nurses, all the people who work so hard to look after us when we're in trouble. Now, I didn't mean this to be a speech for myself, I meant to say welcome, but I want to let you know that it's about people mattering, okay? Yeah.
We stand here on the traditional lands of the Gumbaynggirr Nation, named in this park meeting place Ma'am Gadding. I'd like to acknowledge at this point the traditional owners of this land and the elders past and present, and most especially those elders in training, the next generation of the Gumbaynggirr people who will share this land with us in the generations to come. Because really this is one of those issues where it's hard to find someone who goes, nah, we don't need a hospital. A local community doesn't need a hospital. It doesn't need a well-resourced health system. So stuff you all. In fact, we have politicians who share the concerns of this group. And here we present them with a captive audience in the middle of a federal election campaign. We are desperate for their support. They are desperate for our jobs and our votes. Before we get on to the elected politicians desperate for your vote, I'd like to call on one of our elected politicians no longer desperate for your vote, our Mayor and my colleague, Mark Troy.
Look, it's just great to have the community turn out again to demonstrate the ongoing support for our wonderful community health institution, our Bellingen Hospital. And I can see incremental change for the better. And I am optimistic enough to believe that the National Health Reform Package will provide a better framework to strengthen local and regional health services. The plan to establish local hospital networks managed locally by a governing council and CEO, with local clinicians advising the networks, is a major step towards restoring more responsive and effective local management. And one thing is certain, the unwieldy and somewhat remote system, as we know it, could not survive, or at least some of the hospitals could not survive if it wasn't changed. It was a call for restoration of the maternity services that got the community actively involved once again, and that has continued to increase in support over the last 18 months to 2 years. We are fortunate to have a regional base hospital nearby, offering a very wide range of specialist health services. But Coffs Harbour Hospital can't be all things to all people, and it doesn't need to be when there is an underutilised functional facility here at Bellingen. A number of people have asked me if they should withdraw support for the Bellingen Hospital because of the uncertainty surrounding its future. And my answer is no, 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 no. And my plea is for the community to continue their support of this wonderful institution and the dedicated medical and allied hospitals staff. Thank you, and thank you for coming out.
Now we're going to move on to the candidates and other politicians that we have this morning. We're going to start with the local Greens candidate. I'm not even going to pretend to be unbiased on this. Give it up for the next local member, Dominic King.
Thank you very much. I'm still getting used to actually being in the group of politicians. This is a really new thing for me, and the reason that I have chosen to stand up for the Greens is because I am a believer in democracy and I am a believer in people power, and I think the Greens are a party that respect people power. We are a party that makes decisions at a local level, which means that if I believe that the hospital, and the Greens certainly believe that we need the hospital here, if we believe that the hospital stays here, and should have all the services that we need in Bellingen and other areas in Cowper, that I will fight to have them there, and I will make the decisions for the Greens about keeping this hospital there. With the other political parties, they're top-down parties, their decisions are made from the top. With the Greens, we make them from the bottom, and I think the strength of our fight to save the hospitals has been that people have made the decisions in the local area that we need this hospital. We won't accept our services being taken away from us, and it's really, really important that we fight for that. And the Greens are a party that believes that health services are a human right, and when we have a vision for this area, we have a vision that is a vision for sustainability. And when I think about sustainability, and I know it's a buzzword that people are using now, I'm talking about sustainable agriculture, sustainable health and sustainable jobs in this area, and the hospital is a vital part of this area. So I think the growth predictions for this area mean that we need probably the services we've got and more, and I think the Greens really are a party that will fight for that. I think another important part about Bellingen in general is that I work with a lot of Gumbaynggirr people, and this area was known as an area where Gumbaynggirr women used to come to have their babies, and I think it's a special place in that as well, that it has that spiritual feeling to it, and I think Bellingen people know that, and I think the strength of this whole campaign has been that bottom up, and I think if people want a party that will make decisions at a local level, that the Greens are the people that are going to hold this hospital together. And our money is new money. To answer Sean's question, we have put new money into making sure that regional hospitals remain where they are and actually the services get improved. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to tell.
But I have to acknowledge that all through this campaign we have had the unwavering support of our local members, both National Party members at state and federal level. They have supported us in our struggle right from the start. And I'd like to now call on the local federal member for Calver, Luke Hartsucker.
No! He stands for a threat to our system.
Hey mate.
How can our system threaten our hospital?
Well, good morning ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming along to support your hospital. It's great to see so many people here, and congratulations on everyone turning up, because if you don't show that you care, many bureaucrats don't think you care either, and it's vitally important that we maintain community support for your hospital. I've spoken a number of times in our Parliament on the issue of Bellingen Hospital, and the issue of downgrading of our smaller hospitals is something that's happening right across the state, certainly happening right across the electorate. And I'm certainly against staff cuts in the health area, except for one, and that's Chris Crawford. I think without Chris Crawford we'd have a much better Bellingen Hospital. But the Nationals are very much focused on providing services to you where you live. We think that equity in access to health services is absolutely vital. We think that your hospital should be accountable to your community. Hospitals should be accountable to the communities that they serve, rather than faraway health bureaucracies dictating what services will be provided. We'll be supporting our smaller hospitals. The Nationals support that issue of equity, and I'll certainly be working as hard as I can. If re-elected at the next federal election, I'll be working as hard as I can to ensure that Bellingen Hospital has the resources it needs to maintain the services that you need. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Our next speaker is actually not standing here after your votes. He's the member for Coffs Harbour, and as all of us know, Bellingen Hospital has no future except as part of a solution that includes Coffs Harbour. I'd now like to call on the National Party member for Coffs Harbour, Andrew Fraser.
Who stands for a system that threatens our hospital?
Back up the tree, son.
Yeah, I'm off the tree, all right. I will not stand for a system that threatens our hospital. How can our system threaten our hospital?
Sit there.
You stand for our system.
Do you want to have your say?
Responsible. Yeah, sure.
Come and have your say.
Sure.
Firstly, may I acknowledge the elders, both past and present, on this Aboriginal land which we stand. Secondly, congratulations, Bello, where you have not lost the ardour, you have not lost the fight, and we won't allow you to lose the fight in relation to Bellingen Hospital. Now, whilst I'm not standing in Bellingen, the people of Urunga, who are my constituents, do require the medical facilities that Bellingen Hospital actually provide. I proudly represented Bellingen for about 15 years, and under the term of a coalition government we gave you the birthing unit here. You had a district board that networked with Coffs Harbour, Maxfield, Dorrigo and Bellingen. Our policy is to bring back those district boards, to give you your representation, to ensure that you get the health care and the funding that you need and deserve at Bellingen. Now, one of the arguments I've had with bureaucracy for years about Bellingen Hospital is the fact that you flood, how many times? 5 times in the last, 7 times in the last 18 months. Where do people go if you haven't got a hospital here? What happens if someone gets injured during a flood, which is highly likely? Do you helicopter them out? The reality is you need a hospital here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. I once again congratulate you on keeping up the fight, because this is what it's all about. A rally one day, and none a week or a month down the road means that they're not listening. You keep these rallies up, you keep your voice heard both locally and statewide. And I know today I read somewhere this is going to go onto YouTube. I suggest we get State Line up here and get them on as one of the regional issues on the Friday night, because the only way you'll get a state Labor government who runs the health system to listen to you is get it into that Sydney media. And what we've got to do is keep that noise up. So congratulations once again. You have my total support, as you always have. I'm very sad that I don't represent the people of Bellingen anymore, but I still represent a large number of people in the Bellingen Shire. Well done, Bello.
The final candidate we have to address us today is a man who will be familiar to most of you. He's run in this seat before and has been chipping away at this majority for quite some time. He's come round to enjoy our company on another beautiful morning in Bellingen. Please welcome again the ALP's Paul Seckfy.
Thanks, Sean. Let me first acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, their elders past and present. Hooray! And what a wonderful day in the Gumbanga country that we're experiencing today, as always. Like Luke, like Dominic, like Andrew, congratulations, Bellingen. I appreciate and applaud your people power. I really, really urge you to keep up your scrutiny and your understanding and your support for your local health service. It's only this way that you can actually bring to bear the scrutiny of others and the understanding of others to continue to meet your needs. However, at the last time I was here, I urged you, and I will continue to urge you, bringing scrutiny to bear is one way to improve your health service, but finding a way to cooperate and work together with your local and regional health service managers is also part of that solution. I know people in Bellingen understand how to work together to get a result. I understand that people in Bellingen actually have a proud history of working together with people they don't even agree with. Good on you. Find a way forward to work together for the long-term benefit of Bellingen Hospital. As others have said this morning, last time we were here, you achieved something I think that is incredibly notable. You had a candidate from the Greens, you had the state leader of the National Party, you had a federal member for the seat of Cowper, the National Party member Luke, and you had myself, all committing to say several things. The first one was, you have saved Bellingen Hospital. Good on you. Well done. We all said that. We all said we would work together to actually ensure that you don't have to worry about saving Bellingen Hospital. We would work together to ensure that the services here are maintained and improved. You have my commitment. You have always had my commitment, both as a citizen, as a member of the Mid-North Coast Area Health Service, board for the 8 years of its existence, and as somebody that's worked in several regional organisations. You have had always my commitment that Bellingen Hospital was a fundamental part of a networked health system. What you don't have from anyone else who's spoken before is the backup of a $7.4 billion plan to make those things a reality. Only the Labor Party, only Julia Gillard's government will deliver a $7.4 billion program nationally to improve health services. How you got to be at this place is despite all of the very, very well-intentioned and very loud and very vocal advocacy by people like Luke and Andrew.
That's right.
How you got here is because it wasn't effective.
That's right.
I'm asking people in Cowper at this election to make history. For the second time since Federation, elect me, elect a Labor representative, and you'll see change. One person stands up here for change. That's me. That's why I support you and hope that you will support me. Thank you.
Now I'd like to move on to hearing from some of those clinicians who staff this wonderful local hospital and care for us when we're ill. I'd like to start first of all with, and I have his name written here, so I'm going to get them all right today, Dr. Andrew Heslop.
Thanks, Sean. It's always a great pleasure to see the Bellingen Shire people and the Bellingen people out in force on issues. They're a great support, always have been and always will be. I last spoke at a meeting like this around 10 years ago when the paediatric services were under threat at Bellingen Hospital, and through the action of the community and the hospital action group then, that battle was won and the paediatric services were continued. So, as it was then and as it is now, it is the passion of the people and the involvement of the people which is evident in Bellingen, and it is so important to the continuance of our health service. 12 months ago I wasn't all that confident about how the hospital was going to go. I am more confident now, and that I think that confidence is again due to your input and your work behind the scenes. I have seen a current North Coast Area Health Service draft service plan for the next 5 years. And the language in that has changed from a year ago was no to we will consider this and consider that. And that's quite a big change, I think. And there are words like implement this service and expand that service. So things have changed from no to possible. Not yet probable or actual, but there's a shift, and I feel a lot more confident about that. And that includes services like the accident and emergency, obstetrics, paediatrics, palliative care, hospice care, expanded home nursing role. So you are being heard, I think, and that's so important to keep that going. Apart from that, Bellingen people, Bellingen Hospital Action Group, keep your input going, keep your agitation going, keep asking the questions, keep making your plans. And I know that the Medical Staff Council and the nursing staff and allied health staff in the hospital will be delighted with your input and support you 100%.
I must say that every time I hear somebody who is remotely involved on the inside express some small tone of the least little bit of optimism, and it cheers my heart, because as we all know, you get into these battles sometimes and they just stomp right over the top of you. So to watch an area health service actually be forced to listen to a community in arms, and that's what this is, really does my heart good. Could I now call on another of the doctors who has kept us informed of crucial issues as they develop, Dr. Deirdre Little.
Thank you, Sean, and I agree with the words of Andrew. The language has shifted, so we're hoping that the respect for the rural health care of people in this region has also shifted. It's been 12 months since we first began this battle, and although I'm cautious, I suppose, I think there is reason to be proud of what we and you, particularly you, have achieved, and there's also reason to be hopeful. However, there are still some areas that need our attention. We know that healthcare is something we all have a right to, that must be accessible and open and structured to meet our needs, particularly of the old and the disabled and the mentally ill. One of the problems that we haven't achieved is transparency in that regard. And one of my concerns, and those concerns I think are shared by the Medical Staff Council, is that the new arrangement for district boards and for local control may adopt the same confidentiality, if you like, secrecy, opacity that we've had to deal with in the past. The reason these issues, the lack of maternity, the potential closure of our A&E department came to a head was through just this confidentiality. If it's not transparent, it's not accountable. And if it's not accountable, it's not consistent with democracy or the Westminster system. One of the confidentiality here has been the enabler of our deteriorating services. It has come about in part because administrative decisions and poor governance have been able to hide behind a pretense of patient confidentiality. So because we have to obviously protect and safeguard the confidence of our patients, therefore we haven't been able to bring problems and issues, and we're not allowed to talk about problems and issues that arise. But of course you can talk about poor governance and poor administrative decisions without involving the details of individual persons. When we do have Thank you. When we do have our boards established, this is something that we will have to be absolutely adamant about. Any community representation, any community representatives invited to participate on these boards will have to refuse to sign confidentiality clauses. There is no other way to bring about transparency and accountability.
No secrets now! No secrets in Parliament!
One of the problems that has been a secret has been mental health care in this region.
Right on! Mental health!
A doctor here at Bellingen Hospital not too many weeks ago was instructed not to transfer a suicidal patient to Coffs Harbour for health care. Instructed not to transfer from Bellingen Hospital to Coffs Harbour Hospital. Last year, a young man who was a friend of ours committed suicide within Coffs Harbour Hospital, within the psychiatric unit.
Did you hear that?
We have a problem with mental health care in this region. It should not be a secret. It should be the very next thing that we begin to tackle, and we will be tackling it even before we have the scrutiny that we need attached to the problem through our boards. And we will be relying on the people of the Bellingen Valley to keep protesting and to keep drawing attention to the need for accountability and transparency in the management of our health services. Thank you.
Anyone who lives in this valley knows that we have a large and largely unrecognised mental health crisis that is also under-resourced, under-acknowledged, not even talked about. And I can't wait for that part of the debate to start.
The silent majority!
Finally among the doctors, I'd like to call on Dr. Trevor Cheney.
Thank you, and my respects to the elders for this meeting place.
Right on.
I just have a couple of things to mention. Firstly, the bad news and then the good news, I think. The bad news, in case you didn't notice, is that you have been consulted. 2 weeks ago you were all consulted about the future of our hospital system. Did you not notice?
Did anyone know that?
Okay. So there was a rather under-advertised consultation process that went around. The staff of the hospital heard about it almost by accident, and the Bellingen Hospital Action Group heard about it almost by accident. We attended, the bureaucrats spoke for 100 minutes, and we were allowed one question. That we made some protest about, and that we hope will be a thing of the past, and that's what one of the things we'll be working on to, as Deirdre said, to increase transparency and to reduce this quasi-consultative, basically top-down solution. Sadly, our colleagues in the South Coast Area Health Service didn't even have that much of a consultation. So we need to be aware of these things. I know the Hospital Action Group will be working hard to try and propagate these issues of meetings and consultations when they get the opportunity, and I encourage everybody to go along. The representation from Bellingen turned out to be about 7 times larger than that of any other community in our area health service. Now some of the good news. As Andrew and Deirdre have said, the flavour is shifting a little bit. 6 months ago, my mood was very different to what it is now. The flavour is shifting because some of the administration at Bellingen Hospital have been able to employ midwives. This is an enormous shift, and the battle that Deirdre and I have had for 2 years, actually being able to employ midwives to run a service. We're not there yet, we're not fully staffed, but it is the first positive move for a long, long time. So I would like to credit the administration, local administration at Bellingen Hospital for moving on that and being able to actually head us in the right direction. So I'm very happy. We've had a baby not that long ago in Bellingen Hospital, and we...
A sign of life! Good start.
So we're hopeful, and we've also had some verbal commitments about the enhancement of our emergency department as opposed to the plan last year, which was actually to progressively close our emergency department. So there's some really good news there. There is a possibility. There is also a possibility that we can work better with our network in Coffs Harbour and in the region. Now, as staff of the hospital, we're actually very excited about this. We're quite enthusiastic about working with our colleagues in Coffs. Again, I reiterate, we're not in competition with Coffs Harbour Hospital. That's our big receiving hospital. We need to work with them. We think we have a lot to offer their staff as well with our hospital. So we look forward to a closer collaborative work so that transfers between hospitals, between services, happen much more smoothly.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all the speakers we've had.
We're not coming from the heart and not in there because they believe in it. We have to believe in what we're doing, otherwise it's a joyless exercise, and we really need to have that joy component and that love component in our lives today. So we're going to have a song now.
Mate, let me hospital be. We need our services here, mate. We need our services here. And that's more time. Let me hospital be, mate. Let me hospital be. Let me hospital be, mate. Let our hospital be.
Hospital be, mate. Let me hospital be. We need services here, mate. Let me hospital be. All together now. Save the hospital! Save the hospital! Yes. Go.
Diamond,